the things I hear all the time from business owners is, I know what to do, I'm just not doing it. And most people assume that that means they need a better plan, but that's usually not the problem. There's a difference between knowing what to do and actually doing it consistently. For example, you may have a plan for the week, but by Tuesday morning, you're totally off track. Or you sit down to work on a project, and you end up in your email. And then, an hour or two later, you're still in there. Or you have a list of people that you need to follow up with, and you just keep pushing it off. So even though you know what to do, things are not moving forward the way that they should. What's actually missing is something that most people are not talking about, and that is self-leadership. And that's your ability to decide what matters, commit to it, and follow through consistently. Hi, if we haven't met yet, I'm Kathleen Lawson, and as a business strategist, I help female service-based solopreneurs take control of their time and their business and put the strategy, structure, and routines in place to build momentum and to grow. So what does self-leadership look like? Well, let's talk about it over 4 areas. So time, attention, decisions, and energy. So with time, your calendar should reflect your priorities, but what ends up happening is that your calendar is full, but not with the things that actually move your business forward, maybe more with availability blocks. You're fitting priorities in when you can instead of them having an actual place in your calendar. So attention is about being able to stay with something long enough for you to move it forward. But what ends up happening is that you start something, you switch again, and you end up bouncing between tasks all day and nothing actually gets finished. Energy. So energy you want to use intentionally and not just let the day take you wherever it does. But what ends up happening is that your best energy ends up getting used on email or admin or being reactive. And then at the end of the day, when you're all drained, that's when you're like, oh yeah, that really important thing I was supposed to do today, I'm going to try that now. And then decisions. So decisions you want to make and then get into action. You want to move forward. But what ends up happening is that you end up constantly reopening the decisions. You end up rethinking things. You end up revisiting the same decisions multiple times. And things end up staying open and taking up a lot of mental space. So why does this all break down? Well, what ends up happening is that most people are trying to run their business in real time. So you start your day in email, and then you respond to what's coming in, and you handle what feels urgent to you in the moment. And then again, later in the day, you try and fit in the important things. So the priorities get pushed because you're in reactive mode, and sometimes you're kind of doing what you feel like doing. Nothing ends up really getting led. So this is why I focus so much on structure. Structure is what makes it much easier. And now you're not relying on motivation. And also you eliminate the decision fatigue because you're planning and you're making those decisions once. You're not making those decisions over and over all day long. Execution becomes operational. So you're not relying on how you feel that day. You're actually following through a plan that you've already made. And this is really where my CEO hour came from. It created the structure that I needed. It was a weekly place to stop, step back, get organized, decide, here's what really matters. Here's the time I have. How am I going to make the best use of my time? And I set up the entire week. So it's a way to actually lead yourself before the week starts. So what ends up happening when you're leading yourself? Well, your week has direction. You follow through more consistently. You work on the things that matter, the important things. You actually move them forward, and you build momentum. You stop starting over all the time. So with all of that, your business starts to feel more stable and it's not because things are perfect at all, but it's because you're consistent. So if you feel like you know what to do, but you're not doing it consistently, you don't need to overhaul everything. You don't need a new plan. You just need to start leading your week differently. So a couple things to maybe think about right now. Like, what actually matters this week for you in your business? And when is that getting done? And are you following through on what you have already decided? If this content resonates with you, be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of my videos.